To say I'm excited to be once again testing an Indian motorcycle would be an understatement. And I say that with conviction. Reason being, I feel I've been slightly part of their recent journey, which not only saw the revitalisation of the brand, but also a new direction, which all began back in 2011 when Polaris acquired the rights to the famous American manufacturer. And after taking control of Indian Motorcycle, Polaris didn't just flood the market with new motorcycles. Instead, they took their time and over the next 2 years, invested heavily in research and development as they built the first motorcycles under the new management. Not before the motor though, which was unveiled back in August 2013, the Thunderstroke-powered V-twin, which the following year in 2014 was unveiled at the heart of their 3 new models, the Chief Classic, the Chief Vintage and the Chieftain. Now, being part of the motorcycle media for over 3 decades now, I regularly test motorcycles before they've even hit the showroom floor. And I remember testing these new models 12 years ago, which caused a bit of stir through the entire motorcycle fraternity here in Australia. It's as if that century-old battle between Indian and Harley-Davidson had once again been reignited. Don't get me wrong, it's always existed, but finally, Indian enthusiasts could get excited with new models rolling out, something that they thought they might never ever see again. Well, over the following years, we then saw quite a few popular models released by Indian Motorcycle, including the diverse range of Scouts, the Dark Horses, the Challenger, and of course, who can forget the test we did on the Wild FTR at the Pean Raceway a few years back when it was released in 2019. Then over the last couple of years, Indian went a little quiet on the media front without much marketing and no test bikes to speak of, which would soon make a lot more sense as Polaris were looking to move on, and they did, recently selling the majority stake in Indian Motorcycle to CARWOOD LP, a private equity company in the US. It's a good thing too, as Polaris had interest in so many other aspects of their business, especially snowmobiles, and the motorcycle side started to suffer. Well, the deal, which recently closed in early February, not only marked the change of ownership, but also the beginning of a new era for Indian Motorcycle. As a fully independent business focused solely on motorcycles, which is exactly what we want to hear. Perfect timing too, as 2026 marks a huge milestone for Indian as it celebrates its 125th anniversary. And right from the outset, it seems CARWOOD are serious about the future, reflected in the fact that not only they brought back the original Indian logo, just days after officially taking over ownership, they also signed a huge deal with Vance and Hines. So watch this space. And today, my journey with Indian Motorcycle continues as I jump on the Indian Dark Horse Pursuit sitting right here behind me. Now bear in mind that this is a 2025 Dark Horse Indian Pursuit. Now the reason we're throwing a leg over a 2025 model is because Indian Motorcycle are on the cusp of releasing their 2026 models. So considering we haven't really ridden any for a while, we thought we'd test out a few 2025 models. So we've got the Chieftain to follow this one, followed by the Sport Chief RT. And then that way it's going to give us a really good idea and comparison before we do throw a leg over those new 2026 models, which are coming soon. And you'd have to agree from the first look that the entirely blacked out theme looks seriously cool. Having said that, I do think just a lick of chrome in certain places would break it up nicely. It does look pretty menacing, as if it looks like it just rode straight off the set of a Batman movie. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff, which first of all is the 112 cubic inch PowerPlus motor. The high revving, liquid cooled motor, which features overhead cams and 4 valves per cylinder, and it's pumping out some big boy figures too, with 126 horsepower and 133 foot-pounds of torque, all straight out of the box. It's also the same engine that won Indian the 2024 Motor America King of the Baggers Championship, which comes standard across the entire 2025 PowerPlus range, including the Chieftain, the Challenger, the Roadmaster, and of course the Indian Pursuit, which you see here. It's also jam-packed full of safety features, including blind spot warning, tailgate warning, rear collision warning, bike hold control, electronic link braking, along with lean sensitive ABS and traction control. I will say that at first I was a little sceptical about the blind spot warning, which obviously notifies the rider when there's a vehicle in their blind spot, either left or right, by a light on the mirror. But after just a couple of rides, I soon found a great addition to the already impressive safety features that it has. You'll also notice it has an impressive stereo, which pumps out some serious sound thanks to the dynamic equaliser and the 100-watt speakers, with 2 in the front fairing and 2 in the top box. And you can hear it clearly no matter what speed you're belting down the highway. To be honest, it's actually one of the best sound systems I've heard on any of the big tours. Also integrated into the dash is the 7-inch display screen powered by Ride Command, where you can use turn-by-turn navigation along with setting up Bluetooth connection and obviously navigate your way through all the various functions. And like most modern motorcycles these days, the Pursuit also features 3 ride modes: Rain, Standard and Sport, which obviously alters the fuel mapping and the throttle response, along with different levels of safety intervention. Some more notable features include the electric adjustable windscreen, along with the premium heated grips and seats. And the pillion even has control of their own seat by a little switch on the left-hand side. Some other great features are the passenger footboards instead of pegs, and also there's some vents just under those front lower leg fairings, which are easily adjusted by your boot to change the rate of airflow, which is perfect on long rides. Another good feature are those Brembo brakes all round with dual floating discs at the front, so definite quality and peace of mind when it comes down to the braking system. And how good do those LED lights look all around, including those fog lamps which are down below those lower leg fairings. Switch them on and everyone can see you rolling down the highway in style. This is also your music. Obviously you can set up your Bluetooth and everything. You've got obviously Bluetooth connectivity in the side, in the front little pannier there. This will give you all these sort of different calls. You can call people if you've got a headset and everything. That's obviously you can do a full screen navigation, type in where you want to go. It'll be about fuel stations and everything, which I learned not long ago because I ran out of fuel. Nearly ran out of fuel, let's say. I had about, I don't know, 5-6 Ks left on the clock. And believe it or not, I couldn't even work out how to open the fuel cap. So yeah, I felt like a beginner at the fuel station. So long story short, it turns out it's a little button just down here underneath the little compartment there. So yeah, that unlocks your fuel and away you go. It also has cylinder deactivation, where the rear cylinder shuts off when the bike is stopped. Obviously more handy when you're sitting in heavy traffic or something like that. Although having said that, it could do with a slightly better design when it comes to the deflecting the heat away from the rider, as the radiator pumps out piping hot air onto both sides of your legs. I noticed it the day after I picked it up and was riding to the office early in the morning and thought to myself, who's having a barbecue at 7:30 in the morning? It's about then I realised it wasn't sausages I could smell cooking, it was actually me carbs. Maybe they're hoping to take me back to the glory days of Burt Munro when he was racing Streamline Scout across the salt flats in Utah. You know, remember that when he burned his leg? Yeah, so maybe that's what Indian were trying to do. Another big draw card is the chassis mounted fairing. For me it just feels a lot better in the front end with the fairing mounted to the frame. While it's electronic adjustable Fox rear suspension preload, which is all controlled by the Ride Command system, along with the inverted front forks and the cast aluminium frame, all contribute to the nimble handling of the big Pursuit. And I say big because if you do roll her up onto the scales, it does kick in at just over 400 kilos, which is pretty heavy, but you won't feel all that weight when you're up and cruising on the road. So if you are a serious tourer and like clocking up some big distances across this huge country of ours, maybe the Pursuit could be just what you need. And don't forget the added benefit of all the storage with the panniers and the rear top box, along with the extra compartments integrated into the front lower fairings. That's why Indian's dedicated tourer is perfect if you plan to get away every weekend. But like we always say here at Live to Ride, don't just take our word for it, form your own opinions and get on down to your local Indian dealership and take one for a test ride.